And just to work because I think last week there were a couple of times where it went really loud. Um, I think it's a usual thing of like the distance of Sean and Sharon to the mic. Um,
Okay.
yeah, so I'm not sure if you were leaning particularly close or anything like that last week, but I'm also not sure if there's anything we can do about it. but,
Okay.
Okay.
Shall
Okay.
move
We'll try and
the
keep the
mic
distance
over my side.
over your side. Is it me that's loud?
yeah, yes, Sean.
I just go loud, do I? Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll put it more towards Sharon this time then.
Sure, I'd rather have you loud than non-excited. Let me put it that way.
Subdued.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I get a bit animated sometimes, don't I?
You're
Oh,
allowed.
okay, cool. I'm gonna kick us off, so hopefully we should finish this by 6:30.
Brilliant.
All right, cool. Right, let's kick off.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Hello and welcome to Netflix versus Cinema. My name is Tosin and I am your host of the said podcast, based up in Coventry in the Midlands. And this is the podcast in which we watch films. We essentially use this as an excuse to watch films. We go to the cinema, we watch films, we stay at home and watch things on Netflix. We rate it all out of 5. We take an average at the end of it all, and then we say who's won this week, Netflix or cinema. Joining me on the Isle of Wight today are Sharon
Hello.
and Sean.
Hello there.
How are you guys doing?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. I'm not too
Yes.
bad. I'm bright and sprightly.
All right.
Almost coordinating as well. We've done this before. We've turned out wearing the same
So
thing,
we have, yeah.
and we're almost coordinating. So
That's it. It's that. I think it's that. You get like that. Like it's the vibes. I think I'm
Yeah,
pretty
that-
sure because like telekinesis or whatever, like
Yes.
Star Trek off of
today I think I'll be
Star
wearing
Trek
something
Next
red,
Generation.
and
Yeah.
we both turned up wearing red.
Yeah, that's cool, isn't it?
I know we have turned up before when we've been wearing like matching outfits,
I know.
literally matching
I know.
outfits. It's been horrendous.
Well, I think it's quite different. But then I don't really worry. I don't really notice too much.
So are you wearing red, Tosin?
Well, sorry, what?
Are you wearing red?
Oh no, I am. I'm sorry, I did not get the memo. I am in a
Uh-oh.
purple dress shirt
Uh-oh.
and black jeans.
Oh,
Absolutely
dear.
no hint
Well,
of red
close enough.
anywhere on me.
We need to practice our sending vibes to Coventry.
Oh,
And
well,
how
yeah,
are you anyway?
doing well. I've been spent the day editing a video of a swim that I filmed from the Isle of Wight to Gosport and back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's done for a charity called the Motor Neuron Disease. This is the Ian Pratt Motor Neuron Disease Foundation. I met them when I was living on the island, and I've been making the videos for the last couple of years. So I was just finishing off the 2019 swim video today.
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
That's quite an undertaking, swimming. And it looks like it's not very far, but there's lots of currents and there's riptides and you've got to know the route and you've got to be prepared, haven't you, for
I'll tell you what.
jellyfish and seaweed.
Yes, people do come up with all sorts of stuff on their face.
Yeah.
and you've got to be prepared to dodge all the shipping liners and the ferries as they're coming in and all that kind of stuff as well. But it's quite, the guy who organizes it, a guy called Tony Bray. He used to live on the island, and but he still comes back and he does it every year. And they need kayakers for every single person who's swimming. They need enough boats to be able to take everybody out of the water in a moment's notice. So it's quite the operation. I told them this year that essentially it's becoming a big festival. They're getting to the point where they're going to be organizing a Solent swimming festival.
Yeah.
But well, yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's how Walk the White started, though, wasn't it? Walk the White started as a company, Maury's woodwork place. Just a few of them walking across the island for charity, and it's now one of the biggest fundraising events on the island. So stranger things have happened.
Well, yeah, that sounds very similar. I think Tony, if you're listening to this, I'm sure that you would take a lot of heart from that, because this started off with him wanting to swim to get fitter, and thinking, oh, if I'm going to swim, I need something to keep me focused on it. And someone said, well, you live on the Isle of Wight, why don't you swim across the Solent? And he was like, yeah, why don't I swim across the Solent? And he did it.
David Williams did it.
Yeah, he did it. He did it 1 year with 4 people, and then it's now about 60 to 70 people each year who do it.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the ride. And I know there's one that happens on the West White, but this one is from Ride to Gosport, the Ride to Gosport route. But enough for all those people who do not know what we're talking about, who've never been to the Isle of Wight. And if you haven't, what are you waiting for? Get on it. But for those who don't understand, I just like to say a quick hello to two people, Vicky Taylor and Holly Nesling, who I ended up with a discussion with about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood on Facebook this week. And the upshot of it is that after talking about it, Holly is going to be coming onto the podcast next week to talk film. Well, to say this is what I've seen at the cinema, this is what I've seen on Netflix. She's essentially going to do a guest spot.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, going to do a guest spot for us.
That's good.
I think she listened to the podcast, and it also means that we've been getting more and more people who are listening to the podcast and who are actually sort of like liking it. She listened and was like, she listened to last week's episode and she was like, I really, really enjoyed that. Oh yeah. And and you know how we spoke about Nina? Nina, I'm sorry, you're beginning to get a little bit of, what shall we say, competition, because Nina is our super fan. Nina is kind of like, we have become part of her weekly ritual. Nina just listens to us. And
Hi, Nina.
Yeah, and sends me WhatsApp messages saying, oh yeah, I think that too. Oh, I don't know about that. So you know how Nina says that she thinks she's Shaun? I think
Yes.
Yeah, I think Holly might have an affinity with you, Sharon, because she sent me something.
Oh, cool.
She sent me something, and I think this is a special. We keep talking about how we want to do. Well, we might actually go back and do a Love, Death, and Robots special. We want to do a Black Mirror special. We're going to do an Inside Number 9 special. So we have those three up and running. And
You've got some catching up to do.
Yeah.
Who's that? Who's got catching up to do?
Sharon
I haven't
needs to
watched
do some
any of
catching
those.
up. You need some catching up because I think you would like them. I don't think
Yes.
there's anything in there,
that I'd go, no.
you wouldn't go, that's not my cup of tea. Because, Inside Number 9 is really, really subtle. I think it's really, really subtle and clever.
Yeah.
The Love, Death and Robots, there's some interesting ones in there. I know you're not into animation. That might be the one that because you're not a big fan of animation. So that's good. But
just watch
Black
the one
Mirror, you need to watch.
Watch the ones that don't look like animation. Give me the ones that don't. Give me the ones that look like real life. You're just watching and going, something wrong.
And Zima
here.
Blue. You must see, out of all of them, Zima Blue. Zima Blue is well worth a watch. Because I would say, so if you can just catch it. It's only like 10 minutes.
Okay.
So Zima Blue. You liked that one as well, didn't you, Toes?
Oh yeah, Zima Blue I liked. I think that and The Day the Yoga Took Over. Whenever I show people any episodes of Love, Death and Robots, I show them those two. So
do we have a new special coming up then?
we might have a new special, Sharon, because I'm reading Holly's message. So Holly Nestle, this is a message that she sent me. She asked me, "Have you guys ever covered really bad shark films?"
Hey, yes.
Yeah, shark films are cool.
I have seen every really bad shark film I think there is out there.
The quiz team, Sharon's quiz team is always called Sharktopus.
Exactly. Bearing in mind that I first met you at a quiz where your team was literally called Sharktopus.
Yes.
What you said, I was like, oh my word, talk about your kindred spirits.
There's loads of them, isn't there? I've not seen one, but is there one called Sharknado?
There's loads of Sharknadoes. There's 5 Sharknadoes.
Sharknadoes.
Yeah, Sharknado.
Yeah, there's Sand Shark, there's Ghost Shark, there's Two-Headed Killer Shark. There's all sorts of things.
Okay. I'll tell you what, there must be hundreds. We're digressing.
Yeah, let me finish reading the message that she sent. She says,
cool.
She says, have you ever covered really bad shark films? Ghost Shark is a legendary film. Ditto Avalanche Sharks.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I think we might need to do a really bad shark film one and just get you and Holly somehow onto the line, and I'll just sit back and just press record.
Yes.
You guys could chat that. But yeah, so Holly will be back. Will be on the show next week doing, I do not know exactly what she's going to be talking about, but she's going to watch something in the cinema, watch something on Netflix, and then she'll give us her take on the whole thing. But she said that she quite likes it. So to Holly, to Nina, to I said Vicky, and David, who said he's also started listening and he actually quite likes it. Thank you very much. Follow us on Twitter. Find the page on Facebook. It's just Netflix via Cinema everywhere. So with that done, I think it's time for us to actually get onto films because we need to finish this stuff quickly. So we are getting back into our disciplined format this week, in which we're going to give ourselves 7 minutes to talk about each film. So, Shaun, you've done your usual and seen everything.
Not quite.
You've done your usual and seen everything. Sharon, you said that you've had another one of those weeks.
Yes, it's just, yeah, I record it because I am in of an evening, but I have to take my turn, sort of who has primacy on what they watch on the television.
Uh-huh.
And so I record everything I want to watch, and then I have like a 10 hours worth of stuff to watch. So yes, this week I have failed miserably in watching anything other than Handmaid's Tale and Fake or Fortune. So that's it. That's all I've seen this week.
But you did go to the cinema to see.
But I did go to the cinema
already.
Yes, I went to the cinema once this week to see Angel Has Fallen.
So
We reviewed last week.
which we reviewed last week.
yeah.
So this is going to fit into our Also Ran section. So in our Also Ran section,
Yes.
what did you think of Angel Has Fallen compared to Shaun and my review of it?
I thought it did what it said on the tin, basically. You know what you're getting when people sort of, shouting, while they're firing a machine gun, don't you?
Yeah.
And when, as you say, every Secret Service, policeman, sheriff, whatever agency they belong to, are all completely stupid.
Yeah,
Except for our hero, who manages to outwit and outgun and outkick, punch, poke everyone standing. And so it did. But I think we both enjoyed it. It was completely ridiculous, of course. There are moments where it's like, all units over here. It's like, no, why would you send everyone to that one location, therefore leaving the rest of your perimeter vulnerable? What are you? How stupid are you people? So I had those reactions every now and then. But you expect that from these films because, otherwise, how would the most wanted man in America get within sort of 2 feet of the comatose president?
You want to know the fall? You want to know the funny thing, right? I think Angel Has Fallen might be the most unifying film this year because everybody I know who's watching it has said exactly the same thing. They said it is so stupid. Oh my god, it was dumb. Oh man, I enjoyed it. I actually quite enjoyed it. It was exactly what I said on the tin. It's like it didn't take itself seriously because
He's like, it's ridiculous and it knows it. So it's just for that reason, it's just fun and stupid. And the end scene, I don't know if there's more than one, but there's the one just like there where they have this sort of in this zero gravity floating tank. What's that all about? What was that all about?
It's a mid credits thing that is totally out of it. It's like this doesn't link to anything else whatsoever. No. But it does have a hilarious. It does have a hilarious final line, an absolutely hilarious final line, which, as I said, doesn't link to anything else. It just comes out of nowhere. But yeah, Angel Has Fallen. No. I'm calling it now the most unifying film of 2019.
Yeah, great fun. But yeah, 3. I'd give it 3.
Cool.
Yeah, 3. Everybody says 3. They're like, hey, stupid. Quite enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So, okay, we're going to go to the films we're actually going to talk about this week. Films that we've seen in the cinema. So, Sharon, that was the only thing you saw in the cinema. So you're going to be sitting down in the sort of like, I think Jeremy Paxman seats this week. You're going to be just sort of like going, and asking us questions about our viewing experience. Because between Shaun and I, we have managed to see 3 films in the cinema, 3 things at home on Netflix. So we're going to kick off at the cinema, and we're going to kick off with the film Crawl. Shaun.
Yes.
Shaun, both of us have seen this.
We have.
I saw a trailer for it. I didn't realise this is what it was until I've just seen the preview of it now. Because it's alligators, isn't it?
Alligators, yeah.
How quickly do you see the alligators?
What, before they actually
No,
appear
do you know, it's like, is it creepy, spooky? What is it? And then, or is it quite a quick reveal?
It's quite, well...
It's pretty quick.
Pretty quick.
Okay.
You think you know what's going to happen.
It's not like a mystery beastie that's picking people up and then you suddenly go,
And there's sort of signs saying, beware alligators and stuff,
It's a bit of a giveaway then.
So,
that's cool, because it's not like the original Snow Beast film, where you never really see Snow Beast until like 10 minutes from the end.
No.
This is one where you get the beasties quite early on.
Cool. Yeah. And they come in with quite an impact as well.
Yes, they do. Well, I think this is a film. Oh, so hang on a second. I forgot to start the timer.
Okay.
All right, and start. Okay, cool. So, I think this is a film that probably had more of a budget than Snow Beast, but less of a budget than like, but less of a budget than something say Deep Blue Sea. Because I remember when we were doing another
Okay.
podcast, we did creature features, and we did a creature feature special, and we spoke about Jaws and all that sort of stuff, and them and all that. It's not in the league of Jaws or anything like that. It is, but it's probably better than Lake Placid. What do you think, Sean?
Yeah, I would say it's better than Lake Placid.
Oh,
Yes.
controversial.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
so.
I mean, the thing. Sorry, Toes. Yeah, I was just going to say. Well, if you want to say a little bit, and then I can say my little bit. If you want to kick
Okay,
off.
okay. I'll tell you. I'll just give it. So the a very very quick overview of what this film's about is it's in Florida, like Sean said, at Everglades. There's a hurricane that's hit, and there you get introduced to this lady Haley, and her sister phones her up and says, "I can't get in touch with Dad. You know what he's like. We need to make sure that he's out of the house." So in the middle of a hurricane, she sort of drives back to her family home trying to find her dad, and finds that her dad is unconscious in the crawl space underneath the house. And he's been attacked by something, she doesn't know what, but she's trying to get him out. Guess what? An alligator comes in.
Oh dear.
Yeah, an alligator comes in, and then it becomes one of these sort of like, trapped little space things where there's a creature coming in and it's about how you're going to outwit the creature and all that kind of stuff. So it stars Kaya Scolodario, who plays Haley, and it stars Barry Pepper, and one of the reasons I'm happy for this film is I'm so happy to see Barry Pepper back in action, because he...
I was going to say Barry. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that, Toe. Sorry, I was going to say that later on. Barry Pepper. I've looked and I think, what do I know him from? Come on, Sean. He's got a familiar face. I mean, the one I would know him from perfectly is the
Saving Private Ryan.
Saving Private Ryan,
Yeah.
where he's the sniper. Up in the tower.
He's the Bible quoting sniper in Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah, and he had a period where he was in quite a few things. I mean, he ended up in that Battlefield Earth film, which didn't do him any favors. And he was in a Western directed by Tommy Lee Jones called The Three Burials of Melesquedis Estrada or something like that. Which
Yes,
yeah.
another one you mean.
yeah, Sean, which I think you would love. You would absolutely love. And he's really
Yeah, I
really
don't think
good
I've
at
seen that one.
Yeah, but I feel like Barry Pepper is somebody who's, I think his career has suffered a little bit from looking a little too much like Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah, and everybody went, you know what? We like McConaughey. He's a bit more pretty boy. So we'll go with him. But they have very similar vibes. So yeah, so the dad is in there. The dad gets, and then it's all about, so as they're in the crawl space underneath this house, and the water level is rising because obviously there's a hurricane going on, and the water level is rising, and it's just like this sort of ticking clock movie of, will they be able to survive, and will they be able to avoid all these all the alligators and get rescued? So that's what it's about. Sean, what did you think? Go for it.
Yeah, that's basically the story. Yeah, I didn't mind this. I liked the premise that the girl was a swimmer, which would come in really, really handy. Wouldn't
Yeah, I
it?
know.
You
Right?
I mean, it's like
it's like that's convenient.
yeah, and I did really like, but then this is me, the father-daughter relationship. I really enjoyed that part of it. I thought, yeah, it was like never. The thing I liked about it, Tosin, was it was a never give in. Do you know what I mean? That's it. No matter what it throws at you, you just don't give up. You just fight right to the last. You're there and you've got to fight to the last.
Yeah.
Which to me is what I would do. And some people might think, oh, I did have a thing. I did think sometimes some of the injuries came and went conveniently.
Yes.
Sort of, when
very,
they
very.
got injured.
It's kind of like, oh my god, my leg's broken, my bone's sticking out of my skin. But then for most of the film, you know what? I'm just going to ignore that. It's like
Yeah.
We're going to make a big deal about it and be like, oh my god, my leg's broken. Look, my leg's broken. Have we all got it? We've all got it, right? My leg is broken. We all know that my leg is definitely broken. Okay, cool. I'm going to go run 100 meters now.
That's it. Yeah. Though to be fair, it does. I mean, they do sort of half mend it, but I mean, some. I mean, if you've been munched by an I mean, I don't know if alligators how they're different from crocodiles, but if they've got the same, normally they got like so many pounds per square inch.
Yeah.
So once they close their mouths,
Yeah, they.
this like.
Yeah.
Are they the ones that drown you, then they bury you, and then they eat you later?
Well, I don't know.
Well, yeah,
That's crocodiles, isn't
they
it?
are. I think, knowing a little bit about alligators, the film actually does try to be quite accurate with how the alligator would kill you. So grab you, take you underground, and like spin you around, and they have a big action sequence or big
Scene,
that is actually about that exact thing. An alligator dragging you underground and trying to sort of like spin you around so that you get disoriented, you get drowned, and then it can eat you at its convenience. They actually have one of those. So there's bits of this that I think they try and do something with. Like Sean says, there's injuries that come that the impact of the injury seems to come and go. It like just come in and out. It's like, all right, okay, yeah, we want it to look like they've been injured. These things are really, really dangerous. Oh, but now we want them to do that. Yeah, forget about the injury. Yeah. Go climb that ladder. But I don't have any hands. It doesn't matter. Just go climb that ladder. So it's
It's a flesh wound.
so you have those bits. I mean, there's the film tries to do this whole thing. Like, they said there's a thing that's attributed to Hitchcock where he says that once you grab the audience by the throat, don't let go until the very end. And the film tries to do this whole thing where it's like, oh, look, they've almost escaped, and no, we've got you now. They're back in it, and all that kind of stuff. And it doesn't quite succeed with that. And it's a kind of film, a little bit like Angel Has Fallen. It relies on the people in the film being really, really stupid. And they keep doing things in the film that you're like, why would you do that? Why? Leave the phone! It's like,
why would you do that?
It's like, that there's alligators in the water. Why are you standing at the water's edge? What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
And
Can't you read the sign, for goodness sake?
Well, no, they keep doing this. There's a bit with the policeman when the policeman comes to find them, and he's leaning Sean, where he's leaning over you know exactly what's going to happen.
You do. You know what's coming, don't you? Really?
You're like, yes.
I thought there was a bit which I thought where with the robbers, with the robbers in that bit, and I thought it was going to go one way, but it totally didn't. So I thought there was going to be another one involved. I thought, oh, here we go. This is going to be the young love interest, if you will, or the young hero. But it didn't happen that way. So, is that the timer?
That is the timer.
Oh, right. Okay.
We'll give ourselves 30 seconds to sort of quickly wrap up.
We can go on a little bit and then not talk so much about the ones at the end, maybe. I mean, if it happens like that, we can make a rule that if one goes on a bit,
okay. If you're happy, I'll put 2 minutes on, and if you're happy, then we can take 2 minutes away from P.
Not P. No, take it away from God of War. If you
okay,
like.
Cool. We'll take 2 minutes away from God of War. Okay, we have 2 more minutes. Okay. 2 more minutes, Sean. Go.
Okay. So yeah. I lost my train of thought now. Let's get it back. That bit, the robbery scene, the looters. When the looters, I quite enjoyed that scene. I thought that was pretty.
So tell me about the cast. Is there anyone we know in it? Or do you root for them? Do you like the people in it? Well, is there enough to get behind?
I do actually like the people. As I say, I do.
You know Barry Pepper, but the others, I don't know any of the names looking down the list of the credits on.
Kaya Scodelario, probably the most high-profile thing that she did is that she was in Skins, the Channel 4 show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I thought she was really good. To be fair,
she is really good. Yeah.
I mean, to me, she came over as being believable. That, there was times when she had a little bit of self-doubt, but then it was like, you know what?
Yes.
I'll tell you what I found. What I think she did really well with. You believed that this was this is the kind of person who, even though there's a hurricane and everybody's saying this is a life-threatening hurricane, I actually totally believe that she would drive right into it. I really believe that she's the kind of person who would drive in the other direction, like that strong-headed. So it wasn't so. For me, the biggest why would you do that thing of the film, they managed to skirt around it, because I felt like she managed to sell that. Because I'll tell you one thing when this film made me think, why does anybody live in Florida? If this happens every year, just get the hell out of there.
Yes.
So yeah, but I'll say
what?
Okay, Sean, we have 30 seconds.
Yeah. Okay. Apart from injury thing, I would say it was pretty good. It was, to me, I quite enjoyed it.
Enjoyable.
Yeah, enjoyable. So I'll give it a 3. I would have given it a 4, but the injuries were.
Sean, I think I'm with you. There were things that kept happening that I mean, oh well, this could be good, but then they kept doing stupid things that you think, what the? No. It just ends up taking a star away. And I'll say one thing about it. It's not particularly scary. It's not like they have a couple of jump scares in there. They have a couple of jump scares in there, but the jump scares is not so much that that was effectively done. It was more the fact that for me anyway, that it was just, especially the first time the alligators show up, you're like, it would be absolutely freaky to be in that situation. it would. And
Yeah.
It would be absolutely freaky to be in that situation. But the fact that, but the film has a weird tone. I'm not sure whether the film is okay. We're gonna move on. I'm not sure whether the film.
Okay.
Anyway, because let me put it this way: the first thing you hear after the film ends, once the credits start rolling, you start hearing "See you later, alligator." Yeah.
Yeah, I know. That was it. That was it at the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, and all I can remember is like I remember the film finished and people in my cinema were like, "Well, that was shit." That's what I actually hear people say that. I agree with you, Sean. I think it's a 3. It's enjoyable. It doesn't hang around too long, but there are some head-scratchingly dumb things that happen. But let's move over to Netflix now. And so you saw a film called P, Sean.
I did. I saw a film called P. Yes.
Capital.
A capital P. Yeah. I think it stands
or green vegetable
for capital P.
Right.
I think looking at it, I mean, it was a Thai movie, obviously, because I've been to Thailand. I thought, oh, this looks interesting.
Okay.
And
your
it's called.
time
I think it's
starts
okay, and in brackets possessed. So I think the P stands for possessed.
Okay.
And basically, the film starts off with there's this young girl. She's growing up in the country in Thailand. She's an orphan, but she's with her grandmother, and her grandmother teaches her magic.
Okay.
But when the grandmother starts to feel sick, and Dao's got a little bit older, that's the name of the character, she goes to Bangkok to find work, obviously, so she can make money to send back. And she ends up working in a go-go bar.
Okay.
Go-go bar in Bangkok. So, and some strange things sort of happen to her. She gets, should we say, she's quite naive. She doesn't really know what's going on. I mean, so, and she gets...
is that another way of like being lured in for sex trade? Or
basically it is. Yeah. But it's not sleazy, and it's not, there's no nudity, and when there are a few sort of sexy moments, but they're over really quick. So it's not like a... You
don't feel like you're watching someone being exploited and going, oh, this is uncomfortable.
So she's dancing at this bar. There's a bloke there coming to the bar and who sort of spies her, and obviously she's young and basically takes her, seduces her.
Yeah.
And she comes back, and then the next day is really horrible to her, and he says, "Oh, I don't go with prostitutes." And she said, "Well, you were the first one I've been with." And he goes, "Well, now you know what I mean?" So really nasty sort of character. Yeah. And of course, she knows this magic, doesn't she? So she cooks up some spurious spell. And some of the girls at the go-go bar don't like her as well. So, and there's one in particular, like the prime dancer, if you will. So obviously she wants to do some magic for something. So something nasty happens to. Yeah, sorry.
So when you say
I'm
magic,
just trying to sort of.
Are we talking Harry Potter magic? Are we talking like potions and?
No, we're talking like voodoo-y type.
Okay, gotcha.
That sort of magic, yeah. So like, but she's been told, to always use the magic to do good things. But of course, she's starting to use things to do dark things. So, and gradually she sort of loses control, and things become darker.
So does it enact a price? For every magic you do, there's a price to pay.
So it's at the price, and she actually something evil takes over inside her, which and then it turns into like a should we say like a horror film sort of thing.
Right.
There's a nasty sort of demon that does not particularly nice things. So it turns into, I mean, at the time as well, in the go-go bar, she strikes up a relationship with another dancer, and they get on really well, and they end up being, sort of caring for each other rather than. And she's like, oh, I'll try and help you, I'll try and save you, because things get really bad. And there's a Thai witch doctor in there as well. So that's basically the story.
Okay, yeah.
So this would say like similar to sort of Hammer. It's that Asian-y type horror towards the end,
grudge,
like that type of thing. Yeah, like the demon, that type of thing. It's not like your typical British stuff. It's more Asian horror.
The Ring, the Grudge, that type of thing. Creepy.
About someone that eats things on the outside. Yeah. So there's this movie, and what was really interesting, because it really, I thought this was a great movie, not so much for the horror aspect, but just for like the life of what it's like to be in Thailand and what happens, and how these girls can come and get corrupted because they earn really, really good money. And I don't think it was particularly showing exploitation. What I liked about this was the girls actually had the power, and they were talking about like the different nationalities. They're going, oh yeah, Japanese men, they're all right, but they're just so boring like the Germans. You know what I mean? And they're talking. and they're talking to each other, and they're sat like with someone who's in the club like that, and having a conversation and say, "Oh yeah, no, he's really ugly. Yeah, but he's rich. He's got loads of money." Do you know what I mean? So they're having this. So basically, it's not like all the girls aren't being exploited. They're basically exploiting all these
men with too much money.
Things.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
so
it was just
whether
funny
it would be something they would choose to do.
No, I don't think it would choose to do.
No, but once they're in there, they make the most of it.
But
it's not a lifestyle that they would necessarily have chosen for themselves.
Okay.
And I thought this would be a good thing for, men who sort of actually do that.
Who have gone on
who
sex
who do that sort of thing. It would be a good thing for them to sort of see it, because it's like, they're taking you for a ride basically, but they're not, because they've been exploited because of the situations they're in. So I like that bit of it, and but the horror bits, are quite different. It's sort of becomes very dark. I would think there was one bit which I thought was a bit comedic, where like one of the people that something's happened to sort of turns up and says, "Oh, I knew I'd find you here, and now I'm gonna destroy you." So, but. Yeah, so basically this is a cross between I suppose it is a horror film.
Yeah.
Anyway, I looked a bit deeper, and what was quite interesting, and we were talking about this, weren't we, Shaun? And the director, right, I think they're called Paul Spurrier, okay, is, I was looking to see what other films he'd done. And I was looking down... As a youth, yeah. There was a film made called The Wild Geese. I think I might...
No way!
Don't make them like they used to.
Yes, we did that.
The director of this film was the one. There's a young Richard Harris. He plays Richard Harris's son. I don't know if anybody's seen the movie.
School, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he's in the school.
And he's, "Hello, Daddy."
Yeah, that's right. Emile. And and it was just, I thought, oh my God.
He was a child actor.
Yeah, he was a child actor. So, and he's obviously come on.
Yeah, he was in Tales of the Unexpected and all sorts of things as a little boy.
Yeah, Max Headroom.
And then grew up to become a director.
Oh my goodness me, he was Max Headroom. He was Lynch. He was the one who did the Blitfer. Sorry, I'm just looking down at stuff now.
Some of the stuff he's been in.
We better go back. Yeah, so
okay,
I might have to check out a bit.
We go about 50 seconds.
Okay, so yeah, I thought this was a really, really good movie. Really, really effective movie. I really liked the story. I thought it was a good insight. As I say, it didn't feel...
So was pea a vegetable or was it a mineral?
That's just a possession, I think. Just a possession, a horrible thing with possession, but it's a pea. Anyway, so yeah, I really enjoyed this. I'm going to give this one a 4-star.
Oh,
Ooh.
Mineral. Yeah.
Because, I liked it, and probably there was a couple of elements that stopped it being a 5, but on the whole, I really, really liked this.
Not a vegetable then?
Not a vegetable.
Was it in Thai or was it in English?
No, it's Thai film with English subtitles.
Oh, right.
But it made really good sense, yeah. So a Thai film, which quite surprised me. So yeah.
Just off the back of you having been to Thailand.
That's it, exactly.
Okay, cool. So that was P. You said that was a 2005 film that you quite enjoyed.
Yeah.
And from the second that you said that you wanted to have your full quota of 7 minutes for that, I thought, yeah, you're gonna like that one. So
yeah. It's sort of a bit of a giveaway, wasn't it?
It was a bit of a giveaway. Yeah. So right now we go back to cinema, and we have Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Now this is the Guillermo del Toro produced film. I think it's based on a series of American sort of kids horror books. I think from what I've heard, it sounds a little bit like Goosebumps. But Shaun, you saw this, and
I did go to.
Yeah, we know that you are currently you are on your constant quest to find a film that you actually think is scary.
Yes, indeed.
Even with the title, I'm not expecting high things from this. But what did you think of it?
And you'd be right not to, Toes. You'd be right not to.
Well, I'm not expecting you to find high things in here. That's what I mean.
No. Basically, the story is a story of some sort of, shall we say, like miscast kids from school. Not like
misfits.
your normal, not exactly misfits, but just ones that, And they go to this house to see stuff, and they look around, and things happen, and there's a bit of bullying going on. Anyway, they find this book. The girl finds a book. She takes it home, and starts writing stories about all the people that have visited this house and things that happen. So it's it's just the book starts writing.
So it's just like an outlet for her.
It's an outlet
to
for
express.
it. Yeah. So
wait. Does she start writing, or does the book start writing?
No, she doesn't. The book writes itself.
Okay.
Oh,
But so
okay.
she's got a book. She opens the book, and then it starts. The writing appears on the on the page, and she's like, oh, "What's all this?" And then the first story is like a bit of a scarecrow type story, and something nasty happens to this bully, so which will happen. So anyway,
the stories in the book, when the book writes them, they happen in real life to real people.
they happen to real. That's basically the story, yeah. So
Okay,
that
cool.
Okay.
And then they investigate stuff. They investigate stuff, and they investigate this house, and they investigate what sort of thing goes on. And there was this. They go to the house again to have a look and try and take the book back, but it just appears back. And then another story starts, and something happens to someone else, and they're like, "Oh my god!" And of course, no one's going to believe them. So it's basically like 4 or 5 little horror stories, little horror bits, which if you can call it horror, I don't know.
So was it not an anthology? But you meant that years ago there used to be films like
Dr. Terror's House of Horrors.
yes, those sort of things where you have like a central
stories.
sort of premise or character, and then these other stories go off from there.
Yeah, but they're not. All the time,
All
the people
linked.
that was at the start. It was at the start. It's all the people that were involved in the visit to the house at the start. That's basically that corporate people. So although they're separate stories, they're all people.
They're all linked. To
Yeah,
this
they're all
house.
linked. They're all linked to the book, basically, and things that go on there. So yeah, a series of scary stories.
Which you obviously found totally pants-wettingly scary.
Oh, mate, I was quivering. Okay, I was quivering. I was shaking. I was biting my nails. My nails were down to the cuticles. It was like quaking. I was screaming at parts, going up saying, no, no, no. But I think I was saying, no, 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 because
Make
it was
it end, make it
not
stop.
so good. Yeah, make it stop, make it stop. What is happening? It reminded me, I've got to be honest, it reminded me a little bit of Scooby-Doo.
Ooh,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
That's the sort of thing.
In a good way?
Well, I see it, like Scooby-Doo is good for a laugh. isn't
Yeah.
it?
Just
But this is
Scooby-Doo the cartoon or the
Scooby-Doo
film?
Serious. The cartoon
The
one.
cartoons.
Okay, cool. Okay, good.
So it's sort of silly, scary.
Yeah, silly. But what I mean, it was meant to be scary,
Yes.
scary, rather than
But it just turns out not quite. Yeah.
not quite. So I mean, I think the girl who finds the book reminds me very much of Thelma for some strange reason. I've no idea why. I was just thinking.
I've been as Thelma at a fancy dress thing.
Yeah. So it's. I would say this would be good for young people to get into horror films, and maybe it might be a bit scary for young'uns.
You see,
Okay.
But certainly not made for adults.
You see, Sean, I was about to ask you that because I know that they've said that this is a film. It's supposed to be like a gateway horror. So it's supposed to be like, your first horror movie that gets you into horror movies and goes, ooh, what else is out there? Let's go watch Halloween. So I was going to ask you, how do you think it works? Do you think it works on that level? Do you think it works on the level for sort of like teenagers who are like, because it's supposed to be a PG-13, so obviously you can't go too far. But do you think it works on that level?
I suppose it might. There's a couple of moments in it that I wouldn't say it's particularly jumpy. There's not a lot of jumps.
Yep.
But there's a few, shall we say, characters in it that like you get these iconic characters like your Jasons and your Freddys. And all those. And there's a couple of sort of characters in it which probably if you were young enough you might think, oh, we'll have a look at that. Like the scarecrowy type thing or something like that. They've put enough sort of horror-y type.
Okay. Is
mum? Do you know what I mean? Like mummies and monsters.
Is it the kind of characters that have the name of characteristic man? Like
that type of
man.
thing. Yeah, but you could say, oh yeah, what about that?
Sounds like the first series of Supernatural, where they would have like a monster a week, and say, this is like a monster a week. This is a monster in its story.
So I mean, there's plenty in there. So so maybe if you were young, you might think, oh yeah, that's a good character, and there might be like your baseball cards and that type of thing. But it certainly wasn't my bag. And in fact, I mean, it wasn't. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't horrendous, but it just didn't do it for me really.
No.
Which I didn't. I wasn't expecting.
You're not quite a PG-13.
Not quite PG-13. No, not quite. So, but as I say, possibly for youngsters it might work.
Okay.
For me, from a personal point of view, I'm not going to go too hard onto town to it. So So yeah.
Well, it's called Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, so it gives you some indication that this is not aimed at your hardcore horror.
No, it's got to come. So. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not sure what the.
Sean, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what.
Yeah,
right, okay, I've got it. It's called on the thing of Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. You are a retired teacher. You sometimes still drive kids around in a minibus. So imagine you took a whole bunch of kids around for a camping trip. These are kind of scary stories you would tell them in the dark around the campfire to freak their little minds out.
What do you think I am, Tosin? I don't know. I never thought of that one. Creepy stories. I don't know. I'd probably tell them some truthful stories. I wouldn't know about.
Oh, that's even scarier.
Yeah. So, because I think I don't know. But if I was, I probably wouldn't tell them that one. I'd probably. What would I do? That's a really interesting question. Okay, gather round. I'm going to tell you some scary stories now.
Yeah.
Like about that leaf monster that I don't know. I'd probably be able to make something up quite good, I think. But I'll try and do it so that there would be a jump in there somewhere, and I might. Yeah. Sorry again.
Okay. Time's up.
Okay.
So you reckon you could do a better job than that?
I reckon I could. Yeah. So I'm going to give this. I'm not going to be too mean to this. Not too mean. So.
They're only little.
They're only little. Yeah. So I'll give them a. It's 2, but I'm going to give it a 3. But I am being incredibly generous with it. Really.
It's a PG-13.
You see now, I have a very similar thing with the film coming up. I'm like, if you're this age, it's this. But if you're this age, it's this.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm very similar thing to that. All right, cool. So now we get on to going back to Netflix, and we're talking about a film called Dead in a Week or Your Money Back, which I found on Netflix. It's one of those things that came up, in the list where it says, "Ooh, you could be interested in this on Netflix."
Yeah.
I don't think it's a Netflix film because it doesn't have the Netflix branding on it. But I didn't hear about this film in the cinemas. I didn't see it anywhere else. I haven't seen it on TV or anything. And it stars Tom Wilkinson, who everybody knows, you're like a great British. He's pretty much like a national treasure now, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
So it stars Tom Wilkinson and a new up-and-coming actor called Aneurin Bernard. And
he's with loads of things.
Who, Aneurin Bernard?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Cool. I've heard his name recently, but I haven't really noticed him in anything that I've seen.
He was in Dunkirk.
Yeah,
he was the French soldier posing as a British soldier who doesn't say a lot.
Yep.
He was in a drama on the television called The Scandalous Lady W about the Appledurkham House scandal.
Ooh.
Lady Worsley, he's one of her lovers. And I've seen him in quite a few things.
Oh, okay, cool.
All right.
So
okay. He looks a bit cutesy.
He is.
He's young, but he's curly hair.
Let's put it this way: if they were going to recast Paul Dark, they could do worse than him.
Right.
Put it that way. But and I know that I think I've heard almost a whole bunch of people just yelling, "Sacrilege! You can't recast Paul Dark!" All the Aidan Turner fans coming for me now. But anyway, this film, and I think this film has the most Terry Pratchett setup I have ever seen in any film. And so it kicks off, and there's this guy. It just kicks off with this guy standing on Battersea Bridge. First of all, I have to say this is a very, 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 very dark comedy. It starts off with this guy. He's standing on Battersea Bridge, and he's standing there, and he's about to throw himself off. You can just see he's about to throw himself off. Then Tom Wilkinson comes over and goes, "Hello, how's it going?" And he's like, "Oh, do you mind? I'm a bit busy here." And he starts, and so Tom Wilkinson's like, "Okay, no, it looks like you're having trouble trying to kill yourself. I could help." and he's like, "No, leave me alone. I want to do it myself." So he hands him his business card, and his business card says "Professional Assassin." And it turns out that this guy has been trying to kill himself, but every time he's tried to kill himself about 7 times, but every time something goes wrong, and he keeps living. So in the end, he goes, "I can't be bothered," and he phones up Tom Wilkinson, who works for the Guild of Assassins, this is where it gets very Terry Pratchett. He works for the Guild of Assassins, and he says, like, "So what, do you just hang around bridges looking for people who can't kill themselves?" And he's like, "Well, yeah, bridges, high cliffs, the usual spots," that kind of thing. So he signs a contract saying, so he says, "Okay, I want to die. I definitely want to die. I don't want to live anymore. I think life is horrible. I think life sucks," and all that kind of stuff. And then he brings out a brochure and says, "So, well, how would you like to die?" And he shows him a brochure of all the different ways that it can happen. And he signs a contract the contract essentially says, okay, fine, it will happen sometime in the next week. That's it. Once you pay the money, it will happen sometime in the next week. And it's just this really, really, really weird setup where everybody's treating this like this is something normal, that this is just something that like everybody just does. Then it goes into a little bit of like a retirement thing, because it turns out that, like, Tom Wilkinson is like an old school assassin who he doesn't, but they're trying to get him to retire from the Guild of Assassins, but he doesn't know what he'll do with himself if he doesn't do it. And at this point, I think I need to make a little bit of a confession, which is that I haven't finished watching it yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because we moved the recording forward.
Time's up. Yeah.
We moved the recording forward. We moved the recording forward this week, which means that I have about 20 minutes left of this film to go. So at the beginning of this film, the way this film was going off, it was going off also. And if I may, I ask for permission to come back next week and let you know whether I'm right, because I have a feeling that I know where this is going. And I have asked permission to come back next week and let you know whether I was right or not. Because the way the film started and the way the beginning of it and everything, like, I found myself laughing in the first 20 minutes. I think the first 20 minutes of this film were brilliant. And I think it was a 4-star, started off as a 4-star. But then they started introducing some elements to the film that made me think, I think I can see where that's going. Okay, yeah, you brought a woman into it now. Okay, yeah. So I feel like it's going to become more and more generic as it goes along, and I think it's going to end up round about a 3-star.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, we can do it to be continued.
We can do it to be continued, but I can recommend that if you want to go find a film on Netflix called Dead in a Week or Your Money Back, because so far it's been funny. It's an English film, so obviously it treats everything in a very understated British way. Very, very understated, kitchen sink, matter-of-fact British way, which just makes the absurdity of it even funnier. So I think it would. So this is a provisional 3, which we will find out next week if I was right or not. But if you have yourself 90 minutes or so, I would recommend watching. Well, watching this film, because the bits of it I've seen are quite good. All right, and I'll stop there.
Oh, I might try and catch it.
Yeah, no.
I might try and catch it. And
we can do a to be continued, and we can ratify your score.
We could.
Yeah.
If you want one time, Sharon.
Yeah, if you guys are up for it, I'll be happy for you guys to go watch that and let me know what you thought next week. Because by that time I would have finished the last 20 minutes of the film, and I could let you know for sure what it is that I actually thought about this. But
we saw it.
So it's a provisional 3. It's a provisional 3.
Okay.
All right, cool. Now we go back to cinema, and this is a film that only I have seen, and this is called Dora and the Lost City of Gold. Now,
I wonder why that's the film that only you have seen.
Well,
I tell you what, I saw the trailer.
We haven't seen that one, Shawnee.
I know. But there you go. So.
Yeah, we all have our roles in this thing. Shaun will go see the horrors. I will go see all the kids' films.
Cool.
But you will have to go and see the It films, Sharon, because...
I might have to take that one for the team.
So you'll have to do that, yeah. You'll have to go and see It 2 or whatever it is.
No, Sharon, if there's going to be a big sweeping romance in the cinemas, we know you
That'd be
will
me.
watch that. Let's put it this way.
Yeah.
I personally do not have any plans, no matter how many emails Odeon sends me. I have no plans whatsoever to watch the Downton Abbey movie. So...
neither do I. I think it looks awful.
Oh, don't say it's
don't
going to
make
have
me
to
watch
be me
that.
then.
Please don't make me watch that.
Yeah,
Just because I'm a girl.
No, I thought it was right up your alley. Romance.
I normally like costume dramas, but I hated the television series, so...
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, okay. Moving on from Downton Abbey.
Shaun, that's yours.
So,
Okay, Dora.
So Dora and the Lost City of Gold. So has anybody ever seen the TV show Dora the Explorer?
Nope, thank goodness.
I may have sort of seen it in passing. I haven't watched it. I've definitely heard of Dora the Explorer, because it's quite famous for like youngsters,
the little girls love it. Or little girls and boys love it.
Yeah.
You see, that's the thing about Dora the Explorer. It's kind of thing where, like, even if you haven't watched it, you've heard of it. And they've decided to make a film version of this. And because obviously Dora the Explorer, it's essentially an education show. It's a bilingual education show in which kids, like, you show it to like young kids when they're learning how to speak, and she says things like, "Can you say delicioso?" And then kids are supposed to go delicioso. no! Like
Yeah,
I've
all
walked in and I've seen my.
You sound like you're an avid fan of it, Toes.
Well, I've seen my niece watching it, and I think it does really really well when it comes to teaching kids something. I think it's actually quite good, and I think what the show tries to do is quite. I think it's quite admirable. So they decided to turn this into a film, and this film, it's a hard sell as a film, as you can imagine, and they hold their hands up and they go, we know that this is going to be a hard thing to sell. So the film kicks off, and the film kicks off like an episode of Dora the Explorer and everything like that. Then it turns out it's all in Dora's imagination. So the fact that the monkey can talk to her in her imagination, the fact that her backpack can talk in her imagination, and but she is an explorer. Her parents are explorers, and she lives in somewhere in the jungle in Peru. She has a cousin called Diego, who is also from the TV show. Diego grows up when they're kids and goes to live in the big city, but she grows up until the age of 16 in the jungle. So that's all she knows. And eventually her parents decide, oh, we need to send you to the big city because we're going to go on an expedition. And we think it's about time you played with other kids. You've just been on your own in the jungle for like 16 years. You don't. So she goes to the big city, and there's this sort of like fish out of water thing where she's in the city. They have that whole thing going on, but I think that the lady who the girl, whatever, the young woman who plays grown-up Dora, Isabel Moner, she is brilliant, because this film is like if you took the Dora the Explorer character from the cartoons and put her in the real world, a bit like Enchanted. You know how Enchanted was like, what happens if you take a princess?
Yeah. I remember Enchanted. I quite enjoyed that movie.
Yeah, Enchanted is really good, and it's a bit like, what happens if you take a Disney princess and put her into modern day New York? How does she go about that? And the fact that she just has this sort of like, optimistic view about everything, and oh my God, is this where the prince is going to come on his carriage? And this film pulls off a very, very similar trick where it's kind of like Dora goes to LA, but everything is just kind of like oh, well, this happened? How about this? How about that? And I actually think it's quite good. I think this film is done very, very, very well. And it is the closest thing, because there's a whole thing where some people are after the gold that her parents are looking for. And so they come kidnap her and her friends, and they end up back in the jungle trying to find her parents. And that's the main driving force of the film. And it is the closest thing to an Indiana Jones movie that we've had in a long time. So it really is. Obviously, they have like some, all these things. You have different obstacles. They have obstacles that end up not really going anywhere. They have a bit where two scorpions come out, and that doesn't really go anywhere because it is made for kids. And I saw this with the target audience because I saw it earlier today, and I was in the cinema with a whole bunch of kids. Like people.
Did you manage to borrow one so that you could go with every excuse?
No, I was sat down there totally unashamedly watching this, going, yeah, and what? So what, you're going to tell me that only kids can watch Dora the Explorer? That isn't fair. But it's like, so I was eating with that, and you could see people, like, there were bits in the film like where she says, "Can you say this?" and the kids are going along with it and saying stuff. But it's one of these films that it's made for kids, but adults can get something out of as well. I think the action's actually quite good. I think they go to this bit where they go to like an ancient Incan civilization, and I don't know, maybe it's just me, a bit like with you, Shaun, and like whenever you see a father-daughter thing, whenever I see like a lost civilization that I think has been lost because of modernization or whatever you want to call it, or they even have I think this is, let me put this is a kids film that I think has a Fitzcarraldo joke in it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm
Really?
pretty sure there's a Fitzcarraldo, because there's a bit where they go, what's this? Oh, this is the opera house. It was built by the Europeans. For some reason, they decided to build an opera house in the middle of the jungle. And I just went, oh, yeah.
Wow.
Then afterwards, I was like, wait a second. I'm pretty sure that's a Fitzcarraldo joke.
It probably is. What I was going to ask you, Tosin, is, like recently with all the remakes, like the Disney remakes, like the Lion King.
Yep.
And when I looked at the audience, and obviously people who saw the Lion King were really, really loving it, nostalgic.
Yeah.
Do you think Dora could be this way? Like,
It's
for
been
maybe
around for a while, hasn't it?
no.
The cartoon.
I think Dora is for the people who are watching Dora like last year. So I mean, the kids kids who were in there were like 6, 7 at most. But
okay.
Yeah.
But do you think it might appeal to people who were into it?
Sort of nostalgic,
sort of
slightly.
nostalgic wise, like
in their late teens now, and they think, let's.
When we went to see Aladdin.
Aladdin,
the live version, and I looked
around.
There's
lots of adults there
there were lots of adults
reliving their childhood,
and those little ones. And I just wondered if this was perhaps the same, but you don't think it is.
It's probably not older.
I think if you watched it when you were younger, you probably would like it. I mean, I've only ever seen Dora shortly in passing when my niece is watching it, and I quite enjoyed it. So I think I actually quite liked what it did as well, like the where the story ends up, where it talks about ancient, because you can see that this is a film that is made, it's very conscious or woke, as some people might say, in that this is really about sort of South Americans finding out more about South American culture. So it isn't, and I think it's done very, very well. I really, really enjoyed it. If I was going to be a horrible, cynical, older, critical person, I would say it's a 3 out of 5. But the more I think about it, the more I think now it's a 4. It's a 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I would actually.
That's fair, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would recommend anybody go watch this film and let me know if I'm just being, because I said there's some themes that it has. There's some things that it has that are totally up my alley right now. Because what I've been thinking recently about colonization and all that kind of stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, it was a shame that we lost all that. But so I would give it a 4, and I would recommend anybody go watch it.
Cool.
So
cool. Good old Dora.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, good old Dora.
All right, and now also I think another reason why I did that is because it's directed by the same guy who directed The Muppets.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, James Bobbin.
Okay.
Once I saw that, I was like, that explains why it's so weird. And it's not your straight down the middle kids movie. It has this weird areas it goes off to. There's a bit where they pay homage to the original cartoon that is genius. I think it's just genius. But anyway, yes. So now we go back to Netflix and Friends, or what do you think you can watch at home? And Shaun, you saw something called God of War, which you have asked for even less time on, which tells us something.
Wow. Well, yeah, this might surprise you. It might just be that I thought P deserved to be spoken about more. I mean, okay, God of War. So 2017 film, Chinese film. It's a story, and I think it's probably historical story based on things that happened.
Yep.
And it's basically Japanese pirates and mercenaries, which they call Ronin. They sort of take
swords for hire.
Yeah, they take over a city, a Chinese city along the coast, and the Chinese have been trying to take it back without much success. And then there's a new general gets promoted, General Qi, and he manages to actually the strategy so that they can recapture the city. But a lot of the pirates manage to escape. They manage to get away, and they get sort of more reinforcements, and they take over more and more, cities and all that. And it's about this general. It's really, for me, I quite liked it because it's a strategy film, and it's all about the Japanese are not too silly, and they say, that they've got a general now, and this General Qi, so we've got to be careful. We've got to play them at their own game, and so the forces are split, and the Japanese pirates they're going to send all their mercenaries against the city. Well, the General Qi's sort of wife takes command of the city, and so it's.
Is this a film or is this like a mini series? Or
no, it's a film. It's a film. It's a film from start to finish. Okay. Yeah, it's basically about. And
it sounds like there's quite a lot in there that you could make more of if you chose.
And there's a lot of intrigue as well. Like the general that failed to take the city, they arrest him, and do you know what I mean? There's all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so it's very, very historical, I think. And I mean, what I like about this with the battle scenes is there's none of your silly although it's a beautiful film, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, with the silly leaps, when they do the bounding leaps on trees and stuff like that, manage to go up buildings. There's none of that. It's just sort of and
more grounded.
Yeah, much more grounded, and it was really good. And there was a lot of strategy, when they go into towns, and it was a bit of a to and fro in. And what I liked about it was there wasn't really anything silly in this, for me. But the one thing I enjoyed, there wasn't anything out of place like it was really silly. It was just a strategy based. The Japanese sort of samurai general class trying to outwit General Chi, and General Chi trying to, and so
Chinese.
Chinese.
So this sort of clash of cultures as well as clash of these two.
Yeah, but they're very similar actually. The cultures are very similar. You know,
is it feudal at that time? You had the warlords, and then you've got the peasants.
I think around about the 15th it was. Yeah, and I mean this obviously took place in one sort of area of China. So obviously the coastal regions. But it's quite good because you've got the political intrigue and everything. So yeah, I have to say that this I quite enjoyed this. I quite enjoyed this movie. This was a good film because I like strategy movies.
Yeah, I think you like strategy movies, and you also like movies that give you like a window into another culture. I've realized that about you, Shaun. That
I do. Yeah,
if you feel like this is something I know absolutely nothing about, and this film is telling me a little bit about that, I know that you're like, oh yeah, I'm at home. I like this.
The history. Well, it's like when we've had some of our conversations in passing, isn't it? When I've asked you about you know your country and places like that, and I do find it interesting. I find other cultures, you know, really really interesting, and the history, and you know, like I mean, and I go through these really strange periods. It's like I remember when I was younger, I was really really into the Plains Indians, you know, like your Sioux and Cheyenne and that, and I bought books on it, and you know, and so I get these. I like to have an insight into to what maybe went on, because I've seen some other films. I saw a Korean film called Admiral Raging Waters, which was a Korean movie, and that was along the same lines as this, but it was a naval, you know, where the Japanese seem to pop up a lot, don't they?
Yeah.
But Japanese trying to invade Korea, and the Koreans.
I suppose they've got a small nation, haven't they? And they see the mainland nearby and thinking, oh,
so
I'll have some of that.
So yeah, this was a really good strategy sort of film, you know, and interesting, obviously a little slice of
Island
Chinese
nations
history.
tend to be seafarers, and they tend to be a little bit, you know,
piratical,
because they accused us, we British,
they did,
of being a bit like that.
Freebooters.
Anyway, seeing as I was just talking about my whole colonialism thing recently, that explains it. That explains what was wrong with these people.
Yeah. I guess that's it. Maybe it is, isn't it? You know, if you think about it, I mean, the Vikings way back then, they were probably, you know, come from like Iceland and places.
They
like
see
that.
something greener, something nicer somewhere else, and you can't trade for it. You steal it.
Oh, that sounds like the beeper.
That's
that is the beeper. Yes. So
okay. Well, I'm. So yeah, to sum this up, I enjoyed this movie. I'm going to give it a 4-star.
Okay.
Ooh.
That's quite a high scoring week,
so I'm
actually.
going to give
This
this a
week.
4-star.
Yeah. So
I say the reason it was a little bit shorter, I just thought, you know, I could sort of probably, you know, explain it a little bit more.
Yes.
all right, cool, good stuff. So and we're coming close to our finish time, to a pre-arranged finish time, and I think it's actually been quite nice to have a week in which there wasn't like, you know, a designated big hitter, if you get what I mean.
I do. Yeah.
There wasn't like or like last week or Once Time in Hollywood. Obviously, that's going to be the big one. It just seems to be like, you know, we're just putting films out there. You'll find little, like I think I found Dora was a bit of a gem, quite frankly. As is Dead in a Week and Your Money Back was a bit of a gem. Crawl.
Well, that's it. It's a bit like P. You know, I mean, I really liked that movie. That was a bit of a gem, which, you know, so just a Netflix thing. I thought, I'll check that one.
Oh, right.
See if it was scary enough, because with the horror, you know, to see if it scared me. It didn't scare me, but
it intrigued you.
Interesting movie. It did, yes.
It intrigued you. All right, cool. So all that's left to do now is to say who has won this week. Now, I can tell you, if some of you...
I think it's close.
Well, it is close, because if people have been paying attention at home, or even now, we have one of these has 2 3s and a 4, and the other one has 2 4s and a 3. Yeah.
Oh.
It has 2 4s and a 3. And so the winner this week is Netflix.
Oh, Netflix this week.
Netflix with an average that's just 0.3 above that of cinema. But but when I finish actually watching Dead in a Week or Your Money Back, that might either go up or down. So
we'll try and catch that.
Yeah, so we shall see. We shall see. All right, cool. All that's left to say now is thank you and a goodbye from me.
And a goodbye from me.
And a goodbye from me.
We will see you guys next week when I think we should be watching It Chapter 2. I think is that out yet?
It's coming soon.
It's coming soon.
It will be.
Yeah, we'll watch something anyway.
Well, We'll watch something.
We'll watch something.
I might watch. I think there's a film called The Informer, which I've got.
Oh yeah. That looks like it might be good.
Oh yes, that's one with
Joel Kinnaman. Yeah, Joel Kinnaman.
Yeah.
It looks
no idea on that one. So
yeah, it looks like it might be good, or it could be just horrible and generic and rubbish. But it's But anyway, and we'll see next week, in which we shall have Holly Neslin on the show, because I have other friends called Holly and they might get confused. But Holly Neslin should be on the show next week. All right, thanks very much, guys. Bye.
Bye.
okay,
Bye.
see you later.